Perfect. You gotta teach me some German when we get going. Yeah, perfect. I grew up here in Mississauga, playing North Miss, just like probably, I guess the usual, track of like most kids playing soccer here in Ontario. Played for North Mississauga for the first when I was 3 to about 9, and then I ended up playing rep for North Mississauga back then. I was just fortunate to grow up in the year that I did in '91, the class of '91. There was just a lot of talent. Switched over to Aaron Mills when I was 13, just for my older brother played for Aaron Mills, and it was just a better club to maybe push kids forward into scholarships and whatnot. Back then, that was basically the goal of playing, is like you didn't really want to go pro right away. You want to go to the States for school. So for me, I knew I had to just go to a school where I could get my degree, but I could also play some competitive football as well. So when I was 17, I got a scholarship to a school called Cornerstone University. It's a NAI school. I had really good coaches. One of my coaches, Steve Herdsman, played in the MLS for a couple of years. So I just had a good outlet, good coaches looking after me for 4 years. And then was home for about a year, and I had ambitions to go to Europe and play. That was just always the goal, but I had to get my degree first. So ended up going to Denmark and played there and lived there for 6 years. And loved it there. Loved the professionalism of soccer, football in Europe. And actually, Newcoping is really not that far from Hamburg, Julian. Literally maybe like 2 hours on a train or something like that, 3 hours.
We played a lot of test games against Danish clubs.
Yeah, for sure, because you guys are right there. So that's small world. But yeah, so then did that for 6 years and then just came back home in the summer. So just looking forward to pick up where I left off and playing. But yeah, we just gotta get through this pandemic and then we can get back on the pitch.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we're all feeling that for sure. And there is definitely some questions we have on that. But and for the purpose of the players and the kids, I just want to tap into, you said you got your degree. Did you get a scholarship?
Yeah, sorry.
No.
Yeah, I didn't mention that, but I got a scholarship when I was 17, once I finished high school. And that for me was like a non-negotiable. At 17, I knew that I need to go to school after high school, but I knew I didn't want to like stay at home because at that point there was no like CPL. There was really just university. It wasn't really I would say at that point, a very competitive level here in Canada 15 years ago or whatever, 13 years ago. So getting a scholarship was like the number one thing to do for guys at the time. And so for me, getting a scholarship to the States was just imperative. And then once I did that, it got me into an environment where you played a lot. And of course, you had your studies as well, but you got to travel and play with your team and just kind of perfect your craft. So that was really important. That really catapulted my career, because after that, then I felt when I was like 21, 22, I still had a lot to learn, but I was a bit more mature and a bit ready, a bit more prepared to go to Europe and do well.
Yeah, because you're pretty much full time in uni as well. It is like playing full time, and as what I've heard anyway, it's pretty intense with regards to the training and the matches and the regime that you're under, and you're trying to then manage your studies. And was there any barriers, or was there anything that you would recommend or give any advice to players if they were to go that route?
Okay, at the time, I'm gonna break it down into two parts. At the time when I was 17, both my parents are educators, so it was like a non-negotiable for me. Like I had to get a degree. I didn't really want to. I just wanted to play footy. Like I would love going to school from August to November, December, because you're training every day, and then you had class, but you'd also miss class because of games, and you seem like a full-time professional footballer. But then in the spring, that's kind of when I used to make up my marks, and like actually be a student because it was off season. So even though I was training and getting in workouts and games and whatnot, it wasn't as strict or full on as it was in the fall. So I would still say to kids, it's a nice backup because not everyone can play professional football and you can't play it forever. Even now I'm 29, turning 30 this year, and there's other things I got to start thinking about for my family and whatnot, just other careers. So I think personally for me, it gave me that time to develop like as a individual. From 17 to 21, those are very prime years. I grew up as a player, as a person, and I got a degree out of it. Was I later when I went to Europe? Was I a bit older, and was it a bit late, like starting 22, 23 to play pro? Yeah, but it's hard to measure, right? I feel like everyone's different. You got to just go with what you believe in and what feels right to you. So my story, I wouldn't change it, but yeah, there's pros and cons to both.
Yeah, definitely. And everyone's on their own path, and some people might not go to college straight away, or they have different, pathways that they might take. But your pathway seems pretty neat. It seems like you hit you got your scholarship, you got your degree, and then you got to go to Europe and play. And it seems like you were a bit mature going to Europe. And was there any kind of language barriers, any other barriers? Was there a major difference that you got to see playing stateside and then going and playing in Europe?
I think I know for a fact I wasn't ready to play pro when I was 17 and 18. Like I was good, but I wasn't the other part of being a professional in terms of the discipline and just basically working so hard to achieve something. I wasn't fully prepared. So I think, yeah, that time that I had, basically those 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, those years of like doing it in the States, that was helpful because I got to play with guys who were older. When I was 17 coming in as a freshman, I was playing against guys who were 21. So it was a nice buffer before I went to play pro. I would say in the States, especially where I was, like Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, guys are just really strong. I still had my boy body, I guess, when I went to play. And then when I was playing against men, it just helped me play a bit faster, a bit stronger. And then it was a nice little segue into playing professionally.
Brilliant. It sounds like a really, really good kind of career that so far that you've had and still going. I just want to bounce then over to Julian, and then I'll see if Ian wants to add anything just to kind of keep Julian involved. And Julian, did you have a similar experience with regards to university and college when you were playing, or did you combine both? Just tell us a little bit about your background in education.
Like I was in Germany.
You went to school in Germany. Did you play at the same time?
Okay, in Germany it's completely different to Canada and America. So you have your club where you play football. That's called in Europe here soccer, I think, but for me it's football. So you go to school normally, and after the school you if you are in a team like I was, you go to your club and train there. That's not on the school. You train. The school has no team. So you play. Also in my youth, I go to school. When I finished school, I went to training every day. So and in the evening, at home sleeping, and next day the same.
Yeah. So it's a similar like system that your club is the highest level, whereas in America the university is probably is the highest level. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, no, just want to really bounce it to the kids that we have. It's important that you do need to go to college, get your degree as well, and back something up and still play at the same time. It's important. It's an important message to have. Ian, do you want to add anything? Ask any questions on that so far?
Yeah, I mean, what we can do is just go into the chat. There's quite a few in there, so we'll break into that every now and then. Okay, but no, great introduction. So the first one from the chat, do you have a favorite move during the game, and what is it? And that goes to Julian.
Favorite move, skill move,
Favorite
or
move.
something like that. I don't have a favorite move. It's you have to look at the game and which move you can bring you by the defender. So it's every how can I say? It's Jordan, please help me. You have to bring me good English.
You're saying that you don't really have a move. You just you look at a situation and that's the move that you'll do.
Yes. Yeah.
Fair.
Fair enough.
That's fair.
So you have to look to the defender.
Yeah.
Jumping
Definitely.
out, winning those headers. Yeah. Okay. No, thank you for that. We'll just scroll through. So we have a question about being nervous. You can, again, both answer the question. In terms of being nervous when you start out the match, do you have a plan in mind how to approach that? Go to
You want me to go
Jordan.
first?
Yeah, please. Yeah, thank you.
Being nervous. I think having nerves, at least a little bit, is normal, and it's also good. It means you care. So going in with no nerves, maybe sometimes it could just mean that you're not prepared, you're not ready. You should kind of be a bit, at least for me, I'm always a little bit nervous because I want to win. But how I calm my nerves is well, it's routine really for me because I put certain things in place before I get on the pitch. And that could be my role. So understanding what my job is for the day. So I've grown up playing a lot of defensive midfield or sometimes playing center back. It's really just saying to myself what I need to do in my position to help my team on that day. And that could vary from time to time. And I guess for young players, that might be difficult because maybe you don't have a set role or sometimes you're moving from position to position. But I think a way to calm your nerves is just to remember that no one's putting your gun to your head and saying that you have to play. You're playing on your free will. You want to do well. So understanding that it's something to enjoy, but then just knowing like your role as well. So don't get caught up in, oh, well, this is a big game, and if we don't win, then this is going to happen. Focus on the positives and what you can do to help your team. So for me personally, I think about no matter what, that I can work hard. I can be encouraging to my teammates. That helps the nerves kind of go away.
Okay, great. And so Julian as well, which is the same question.
Yes, like you said, you have to be a bit nervous, but you also get in the match with joy. So you have to enjoy the game, the sport. Yeah, like you said, no one is putting a gun on your head to play football like you want. When you love the sport, then you play it and enjoy it every second.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a message for all the players there to be nice and relaxed before you go out to training, to the match days as well. So bear that in mind, guys. Okay. We have a question here to Julian. Mentioned about starting out playing at the age of 6 to 12 years old, and how many hours did you train during those years?
At which age?
6 to 12.
6 to 12. I was not in a professional soccer academy at this age. I get in a professional academy at the age 14. So I was training about 3 times a week. So in this age.
And to Jordan as well.
6 to 12. Yeah, like it's so long ago, hard to remember. But I just remember always having a ball at my feet. Like I always wanted to play. I remember like hopping into my brother's trainings, who's 5 years older than me. I just always wanted to play. And that's how I knew I wanted to do it later on, because it wasn't something someone told me to do or my dad was like living through me. I just found my most peace and happiness when there was a ball at my feet. So yeah, we maybe had training when I was like 10, maybe 2 times a week with a game. But I think every night that I had a moment, whether it be in my basement or if it was the summertime, I could go outside. I just was juggling or working on my game or yeah, just even watching football, I was just a fan. I wanted to get better at it.
That's great to hear that as well. To encourage the young guys as well to be watching games regularly, just being involved in the match day in, day out. And that's a real passion for the game. And that can definitely help you improve your performance as well.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Good message. Get out and play more and more touches on the ball. Miss that street soccer. You know, I have a question from Deacon Page. He'd sent it in earlier. Deacon Page is 2009 Academy player, and you can put it to both of you, Jordan and Julian. What do you do during the off season to maintain your fitness?
You want to go first, Julian?
Also, you have to discipline yourself, that you make your program yourself, or maybe you get one from the team. So and also for the long period because of the COVID, you have to discipline yourself really hard, so that you go stand up every day and go outside and run, or something like this. So you have to you are getting fit, and when the training starts, that you are on a good level to go in the training. That if you do this not, it's injuries are coming. Yeah, I guarantee. So you have to be disciplined yourself and make you fit.
Definitely great words, discipline. Over to you, Jordan.
Yeah, I agree with Julian. Discipline's a huge thing, but I also think for me, it's balance as well. So some people think that you just have to lift a lot of weights or heavy weights, but like the beautiful game of football, it's really balanced. You have to be strong, but you still have to be agile. So I would say an off season for me, I just do a bunch of things. Some days is maybe just yoga. Other days is powerlifting, like squats, deadlifts. Obviously, there's a lot of younger kids, so maybe you're not really putting on weight, but you can still do squats with your body weight, or how many push-ups you can do, or planks, or whatever it is, to make sure you have a strong body. And then also running as well, and putting in ball work. And I remember being younger, even doing stuff like kickboxing, like one day, it's just for cardio or whatever it might be. But just having a base, because I think the stronger your base is as a soccer player, the better you'll be overall. So you don't want to be a person who lifts all this heavy weight, but then you can't run. So I feel like being able to run and move from point A to point B is important. Being strong is important, but it's just getting a balance during off season, so that when you meet with your team, that you're sharp, that you're ready to go.
Really, really good word as well, balance, and just trying to maintain what you have. And we were told as well to maybe just do other sports, especially at the youth level, like, you know, that you can kind of just take a break from soccer and just stop, like just switch off a little bit, and you know, maybe play your other favorite sport, which is basketball.
For sure.
Or whatever it might be.
Our university physio, he would tell us that as soon as we lost, he said, don't touch a soccer ball for like 3 weeks. He's like, just get over the loss, because in university, when you lost, like in playoffs, you were finished, like you didn't have another game. So we would always pick up like racquetball. It's kind of, I don't know if anyone plays that, but it's basically just you have to hit the ball against the wall. It's kind of like squash. I don't know if anyone plays either, but yeah, it's more or less that. And just working on different muscles, but we're still staying active and kind of recovering as well.
Yeah, it kind of gives you a chance to mentally switch off, like, as well.
For sure.
Like you say, after getting knocked out of a major tournament or whatever it is, it can just kind of help you switch off and, you know, have a bit of fun. It's like, again, like you say, go back to having a bit of enthusiasm. But yeah, any other questions in the chat box that you want to go to, Ian?
Yeah, what we'll do some of the questions that came in prior to the Zoom call. So the first one can go to Jordan. If you could play under one choice of manager, who would that be and why?
I don't even know if any of you kids know this manager, but Arsene Wenger is, because I'm a huge Arsenal fan. But yeah, in the glory days, he had it going. I would also say, even though it's tough, because I would say him just because I'm an Arsenal fan, but who I think was just a a manager that I will always respect is just Sir Alex Ferguson. I think his pedigree, the way he treated players, his man management skills, they're uncanny. So yeah, I would love to have played for either one of them.
Get some hairdryer treatment off Alex Ferguson.
Like both top class managers. A few of our coaches are Arsenal United fans, so you've made them happy, and players as well. I see clapping. So
perfect.
And so we'll ask that to Julian as well.
Oh, if I can choose one, it's definitely Jurgen Klopp. Yeah, not because of that he's German, but I've seen many matches and a few training sessions from him. I think he make players better, and that's an important thing. That you have a coach that makes you better, so you can be better and help the team to be better. So this is very important for me.
Yep.
Did you actually witness live training sessions?
Yeah, live.
Oh wow, who was that?
Yeah, on Dortmund.
Brilliant. And did they just allow you to get in, or how did you get a sneak peek in?
No, just look as a
from
visitor.
A distance.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, from a distance. Cool.
Okay. Just from the chat, just let's go to Julian to start with. Did you have an idol that you looked up to?
Yeah, for me, the best player in the world for me is Leo Messi. He's an unbelievable player, but for me, idol, like I'm a striker, and I like Karim Benzema very, very much. Like he plays in the box and his technique. So he's a very nice player, and I watch a lot of movies or documentaries from him, and all the games he played with Madrid. I watch him every time he plays. So you can learn if you watch a player you like. You watch him. You look what he does on the pitch. Maybe you copy in training, and if it works, it helps you.
They're two great players. That's absolutely true. And so Jordan as well.
Again, I'm showing my age a little bit because I feel like some of you are gonna have to look him up. But Patrick Vieira, being an Arsenal fan, just growing up watching him, for the sole reason that he just had so much presence when he played. I also think he was a balanced player in terms of he could tackle, but he was very elegant as well. He could do both, and I think growing up playing, I always valued that. Being strong, being a monster in your duels, but then when it's time to play pretty, you can do that as well. I guess in modern day, that'd be N'Golo Kante in a different way, because he's obviously not the biggest, but he just covers a lot of real estate, and he's a guy who can do both. He wins the ball very well, but he can also break lines, play forward. So I'd say those two players for obvious reasons. Of course, one thing I would say to the kids who are listening, of course, it's nice to, I didn't say Neymar or Messi, like those players are amazing to watch as well, but those players are like, their skill set is so high, you know what I mean? So finding someone that maybe that you could look up to and potentially watch the game and like do the things that they do, not the tricks, but their actual movement is key. Because I think obviously we can appreciate Messi and Ronaldo and those players and Neymar, but they're those players for a reason. And so finding players that maybe play your position but do that well, and maybe they're not the best player in the world, that's also key.
Absolutely. So as the players get older as well, they get a bit more position specific. Yeah, they can identify what the players do really well in those areas. So that's crucial as the players grow up. They identify that. So that's right. This one's to Julian. Just working our way through the chat. What do you like to eat before a match?
It's important that you eat nothing that makes you slow. So you have to eat healthy. But I like to eat before a match something that I really like, so that I feel comfortable. but also don't go to McDonald's and put 3 cheeseburger inside you. It has to be a good like pasta or something like that, or oatmeal. You have to look when the game is, and when it's in the evening. So you have to eat for lunch and for breakfast, and a little bit before the game. When it's in the lunchtime, you eat maybe oatmeal at the morning, then like bananas or something like that, and in the afternoon you get a pasta before 5 hours before the game, so you feel comfortable and have enough power for the game.
Okay, great. This question's to Jordan. As a kid, what do you think separated you from other kids in terms of trying to achieve what you have done in the game?
I was never, good question, whoever asked that. I was never the best player, which I'm appreciative for because it made me have good habits growing up. But I think what made me a good player now is just the fact that I wasn't the best and I worked hard. So I would say that my work rate, even now when I play, even if it's not a day where I'm like maybe the fittest or the sharpest, I'll at least be like working. So then sometimes my game starts from there because I'm just working, and then maybe it ends up being my kind of day after a while. So I think your work rate, that's something that you can control, right? Whether you are tired or you maybe don't have like the best game, or even if the team's better than you, you can always outwork your opponent. So I think for me, that is something that has made me a great player today, is that I just will outwork people.
The message there again, guys, work rate, working your socks off in training. Listen to the information. Don't get no free runs at training. Got to work hard all the way through. Okay, great advice there. Okay, Claire, do you have some questions that you want to work through? There's quite a few in the chat, so I'm going to work my way through them as well.
Yeah, okay, I'll work off the ones that the players have sent in already and prepared. So Alessandra Page, she's born in 2007, has asked, how do you analyze your own performance after the game? So obviously you guys have good analysis, probably someone working with you as a team, but you personally, how do you analyze your game? Either of you guys, whoever would like to go first.
You start, John?
Sure, Julian. How do I analyze my game? Well, there's beautiful apps and technology now that show like all your touches, all your involvements in games. So there's two types of days for me. There is a day where it's a good day, meaning my team has won 2-0. I had a very good game. I can watch it. I usually watch it twice. So one time to just look at all the interactions or maybe things that you forgot, and then I'll let it rest. If I play on Sunday, I'll watch it Sunday night and just feel good about it. Like, oh, we won and this is my involvement. But then Monday, I'll break it down of what I need to do better, what I've done well, just how the game is. Because playing the game and then seeing that same game as well are two different games. There are things that you can notice. But I actually have a rule when it's a game that isn't the best, I only watch it once and then I leave it. So I don't carry that into the next day or the next training. Well, it depends. It's usually 2 trainings, because if we play Sunday, then Monday training is really light, and then Tuesday is when I actually start. I don't really carry that into it. But I would say that I analyze and look at what I did well and what I could do better. Usually through the match, but then I leave it, because then it could end up being a thing where you're just analyzing all the time. So at the end of the day, it's just about your product on the pitch and in the games. And then I've learned as well that when you go to training and you're with your teammates, you should be present and you should have a good attitude and good atmosphere. So you have a huge part of that. So even if you lost 4-0 the day before, you don't have to come in smiling and try to get into everyone's face, but you should come saying, hey, that's over. We need to go after and get the next one. So there's a bit of a balance again in terms of taking in your game and trying to get better, but also accepting that like what happened yesterday you cannot fix. So you just have to go into the next day with a good attitude.
Brilliant. And when you say you analyze it, does York United have an analysis team as well that looks after like certain games, or do you have someone in that full time?
I suspect that we are, but I'm still fairly new, even though it doesn't feel like it because I've been signed for like 8 months now. But I know in my previous club, I know that York is going to pride themselves on that as well, in terms of you play a match and then the next training after you're analyzing it together as a team. We always did that in Denmark, and I'm sure Julian can attest to that in Germany because it's just the same with the tactics. But yeah, we usually analyze a team before we play them. So I said Sunday. So Saturday when we have training, we would analyze like how we're trying to attack the team or what they like to do. And then the Monday we're going to talk about how we did. But yeah, I just agree that you just shouldn't take it past that, like a day after, and then you have to move on to the next one.
Yeah, exactly. You can't dwell too much. And what about you, Julian?
Yeah, it's similar to him. In Germany, we had a team analyzed. After the team analysis, we get on the phone. We had an app, so we get all our scenes from the game on our phone or tablet, so we can look our scene, good scene, bad scenes. So I'm a striker, and if I missed a big chance, I want to definitely make in the next training session 10 of the shoots from that one I missed in the game, so that I never miss this again. And that's good when you got your scenes on your phone. You can look what you made wrong or what you made good. So but like you said, you 1 day, 2 days is good that you can look on the phone your scenes, but your head must be free for the next game, so that you feel confident. And also when you miss 2-3 chances for a striker, you have to feel confident for the next game. So yeah.
Brilliant. And I'm just going to stay on that with you, Julian, because another player, Granger, 2007 as well, has asked the question: do you play the same position that you do now that you did as a kid, or did you change positions, play multi-positions when you were younger? Because you've mentioned now a few times you're a striker, and we're just wondering, were you always that attacking orientated, or did you get to play in different areas of the pitch when you were younger?
When I started, I was also a striker. I played every game in front when I started playing football. I love this position. Of course, I played the last 2-3 years ago and last year as well. Some games as a right wing or left wing, or with two strikers. But the main position and the position I love is striker. So yeah.
Yeah, and same question to you. Obviously coming from Mississauga, Jordan, and playing in Canada at a younger age, like you seem like you're a more midfield, a defensive-minded player, but did you get to mix it up and play in different positions?
Yeah, I think that helped me, just my overall IQ with football, playing different positions. I think later on I found out what I was really good at, but I think growing up, like being a utility man really helped my game in terms of, we need someone to play right back or left back. I had to use my left foot, or sometimes right wing, maybe just going whipping crosses. But the older I got, the more I realized like defending was really my forte. I'm not the $1 million man like Julian and scores all the goals and gets all the fame and accolades. Yeah, I knew I was the working bee. I was the guy to hustle and run a lot and tackle and set up guys like Julian. So I took pride in it. Yeah, I think obviously scoring and football is the hardest thing to do. And yeah, I respect those guys that do that, but I also knew like my value as well was as a defender to stop goals, but also like give the ball to guys who can really do good things with it. Yeah, I just took pride in that growing up. So
yeah, and definitely we're all 11 players, goalkeepers. We needed to, as much as sometimes the defenders don't get like the recognition, but we can't play without them. And it's definitely, we're all important on the pitch. So Granger had another question. What are some of the
Can I say
differences?
one thing to the question before?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, a lot of good people that played 4 years ago, 4 years ago another position, but now play another position in the professional league. So it's not important what you want to play. It's important where you are very good in. So if the coach sees you are a better right back than a central midfielder, then you can try it and find yourself. So like I said, I know a few people that are playing a striker or center back and now play right back or left back in the first Bundesliga or second Bundesliga.
Brilliant, yeah, and it's like you say, it's a good message to send to players, because you kind of become exposed if you're out of your comfort zone, and if you're not used to playing at the back or vice versa, you're not used to playing in front. It's just getting you exposed and helps you as a player to grow. So it's definitely important for all of our players at Power that we do mix up positions. Yeah, so what would you say the main differences you notice between players in Canada compared to in Europe? Like, is there a major difference in the style of play of players, or even the squads?
Oh, I don't know this yet because okay, you want your turn?
No, go ahead.
Go, okay. I don't know this yet because we have I played no season game here, or we had no training session. So I can't say it now, but I think it's football is across the world almost the same in every country. Sometimes harder, sometimes less harder. So it depends on the country, and I think it's not will be that different from football in Europe.
Brilliant. Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah, I would think probably the biggest thing for me, looking at how I grew up and even just the few training sessions here in Canada as opposed to in Denmark, is just, I would say, tactically. Here we have a lot of talent. Or maybe certain guys are maybe individuals, maybe like faster, stronger, jump higher. But I think in Europe, and specifically, I can only really speak about Denmark because that's where I spent 6 years playing. It's just their focus and their attention on tactics, where to be, what to do when we lose the ball, what to do when we win the ball, who to play, all those things. I think tactically they're a bit more sound in Europe because there's more of a culture there. Like you can see, I'm sure Julian could tell you, maybe there's a lot of German teams that play a similar way. There's just a style that they would play. Here we're still in Canada, we're still trying to like build our identity and how we want to play and how we want to move. Like you even see in like the Champions League how exciting it is, because usually most Spanish teams play similar, most Italian teams play similar, most English teams play similar, because there's an identity within the country. And that kind of forms into how they play as clubs, more or less, right? But yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing, the tactics that go behind playing football or soccer in Europe compared to Canada is a bit different.
Yeah, definitely tactically more tuned in. And what about America? Was that like more of, you always hear they're so physical, they're so fit, and I know you were a little bit younger. You mentioned already that you were a bit more like your body was like a boy's. They are a little bit tougher there, and they put so much emphasis on the physical fitness side of things there as well, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's obviously their forte. So I think what Americans and Canadians are good at, you kind of heighten it as well. So that the MLS, or even a lot of Americans or Canadians in general, they're just more athletic. So if that's their X factor, if that's what they have over maybe European players, you kind of drill that as well. Everyone needs to be fit. Everyone needs to be athletic and fast and strong. Yeah. But again, I know I'm preaching the same thing. I just think balance needs to be present. Like being fast and still not like tactically sound, and you don't know where to be on the field, it's kind of useless. Like maybe as a 12-year-old, you'll be, oh my gosh, you're so fast. But later on, people will catch up to you if you don't really know how to exploit that speed or where to be, or if you don't have a good touch. because I can name so many players that when I was 12, they were so fast, they were so strong, but they didn't work on their game overall. And then we caught that person up, or we actually passed him, because my opinion is you really have to respect the game of football, and how you respect it is learning all you can about it, developing your IQ every day and working hard, and then you have a shot at being successful. But if you just focus on one thing, you'll be easily found out.
Yeah, great message for the players as well. Thanks, Jordan. That was really good. Ian, I know you want to get to the chat box, and there's not much time left, so.
Yep, thank you. Okay, this question is from Nitharath, and goes to Julian to start with. Did you ever think of quitting? If not, what made you not quit?
No, quitting was never an option for me. I love football. I love the game. Like I said, my dad was a professional. I want this too. So I want to play this game as long as I can, and at the high level I can.
Okay. And to Julian as well. Sorry, Jordan.
Yeah, no, I never wanted to quit. Soccer's been my first love. For the most part of my life, it brought me the most joy. So it wasn't the only thing that I loved, thankfully, but it was the thing probably I would say I loved the most. So yeah, no, quitting was never really an option, because it always just brought me joy.
Yeah, I think certainly if you're going to go and make it at high levels, guys, you've got to be fully committed and expect some tough times. So listening to the guys there, you've got to be strong in your mind and push through when it gets difficult. Okay, so again, a great message from both guys there. This question's from Justin Androli. Who do you think helped you become who you are now? And this goes to Jordan to start with.
Definitely my family. I'll say my dad for his commitment to me in terms of driving me to all the training sessions. And I really am grateful for him, because I know that he had a dream of playing professionally, but it didn't happen for him. But he never really forced it on me. Like, yeah, he put the ball at my feet when I was young, but he wasn't like, he was enthusiastic and annoying at games growing up and yelling and whatever it might be, but he never got to the point where he wanted it more than I did. That was great. And I think my brother, who's 5 years older than me, who was a stud at basketball, but really good at soccer as well, I think being the younger brother and looking up to him, was just someone to chase. So yeah, so just being the younger brother and wanting to almost being better than him, that was great.
It was a challenge against your older brothers.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, thank you very much. And just to go to Julian.
Yeah, yes, of course. I would also say my family. My family said always, you don't have to do that when you not want it. So they do not say your father was a professional. You have to be also a professional. That was for me really important, because I just play out of joy for the sport, and yeah, and that's really important.
Okay, now thank you very much. Another question from Malaya. If you could go back, what would you tell your younger self? And that goes to Jordan.
Wow, who asked that? That's a great question. Is that a parent?
So Malaya, part of our U11 boys squad that plays in the girls. Sorry, wow. is a female player, excuse me.
Okay. Well, she deserves $10 from me or something like that. If I was to go back and, what's the question? If I was to go back and tell my younger self?
Yeah, if you could go back, what would you tell your younger self?
It's a very good question. I would say to my younger self, I guess growing up too, I love the game more than anyone, but I think Sometimes because I wasn't like the it player, I was maybe like sometimes discouraged. In terms of like I was good enough for a starting 11, but I wasn't like a player that someone would say, "Oh, watch out for Jordan." I was more of a late bloomer. So I think if I could tell like my 12-year-old self, I would just tell him to like continue being like a fanatic, continue just being a student of the game, and really pushing myself, because later on it paid off. But when I was younger, I was like, oh well, maybe I'm not as good. I kind of doubted myself a bit. I think I would tell my younger self just to keep practicing good habits, because you're going to need them later.
A very good message there to give to all the players. And it was a good question, I think, there from Malaire. Very thought-provoking. And to Julian as well.
Yeah, I'm still young. What can I say? I'm 21 years old, so it's normal. Okay, you can do more when you are 16, 17 years old. You can train harder, so you can train more and more. It's definitely you can do every time. You can train harder and more.
Okay. Thank you very much. This question is specifically to Jordan. Ryan Fong from our 2007 squad. Being an experienced defensive midfielder, what qualities or skills would you say that a player in that position must have or be able to do?
Good question as well. I think it's really important to read the game, because then you got to put yourself in certain spots. Being in the middle of, obviously between the lines, you're in defense, but you're not a striker. You have to always be available. So for your defenders to play you to get out of pressure, but also to set up your attackers as well. So I'd say body positioning, reading the game. But I think something that you can sort out the tactical parts, but I think playing, especially in the midfield, it's mostly about presence. Like, give me the ball. Not that you're going to dribble through the whole team, but even though you made a mistake, that you're still hungry, you still want it. So I'd say presence. A guy pushed you off the ball, or a girl pushed you off the ball, that you remember it, and the next time you give them a fair push and you win them back, and you show that you want it and desire. Because I think in the midfield, that's very contagious. If you're working, if you want the ball, if you play with your head up and your chest high, it gives your other players confidence as well. So, of course, there's a whole bunch of things you need to be good with, both feet and be able to make long passes and short passes, and need to be able to run. But if I'd rather take a player in midfield that has presence than a player that is good but doesn't have any heart.
Okay. That was another very good question. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you as well, Jordan. Made this one of the last ones from the chat, and then maybe Claire can wrap up with some questions, just as we're pushing towards the end of the session. This is from Mark and Ryan Burberry. How much is soccer a game how much is soccer a game of skills versus a game of IQ?
Julian, go ahead, brother.
Julian?
It's a difficult question, because it has to be both. So you have to have your own skills, but you also read the game. So you have to make good movements with the ball and without the ball. So you are good in place to score a goal or make a good pass. So yeah, and sometimes it's 1-1 in the 80 minutes, and you're physically down, but your head has to be up and clear, so you can make the last attack a goal or something like this, or you score the equalizer or something like this, or you put a 1-0 over the line. So yeah, it's you have to mix it.
Okay, yeah, it's a blend of combination of players and right moments of the game. So, okay, a good question. I'll pass over to Claire. Do you have any questions to wrap up with?
Yeah, we probably just wrap up there now, guys, because I know people's time is precious. But just maybe to leave on a bit of a motivation or a bit of a note, like for the players. I know you guys haven't been training and haven't been back on the field or haven't really got to settle in and play competitive games similar to our squads, and we haven't, we've been working remotely, we've been doing sessions online, and we've been connecting with our teams, which has been great. But is there anything that you might say to the players, a bit of advice, a bit of training advice, just something to maybe motivate them? Because we're hoping obviously that we're all back on the field pretty soon, but I think they need a little bit of encouragement just to kind of keep them motivated around this time. So if there's anything that you'd like to just add and wrap up with, we'd really appreciate it. Jordan, start with you.
I can't imagine being a young kid locked in at home. This sounds criminal. So first I'll say to you guys that hopefully this is the first and the last thing that you experience in your life where it is this crazy and you can't be with your friends playing. But I will say, like, you enjoy this game and you play it because you love it. So I think when I was your age or young or 8, I always dreamed about being older and playing, or 18 and playing, or a professional and playing. I was always thinking about something further down the lines. And I think for me, being young, people are like, well, who plays pro in Europe? Because that just didn't happen at the time, or there was like maybe like 1% of players that were doing that. So I would say it's easier said than done, because it's even hard for me right now to stay motivated. But just think about a time where you could actually be playing and actually put to use all the things that you're doing. So whether it's kicking the ball in your basement or outside or whatever it is, enjoy it. If it's a one little shot that you're doing on your garage or whatever it might be, think about you scoring that winning goal or whatever. Because that day's gonna come. I know we've been in a lockdown for what seems like forever, but you'll be playing soon enough with your friends. You'll be training soon enough. So I think it's just keeping your mind and your body sharp and ready for that time. And yeah, have some fun. Like we said earlier, Julian and I basically said that no one puts a gun to your head. Like, you play this game because you love it. So when you get a moment to train or to be on the ball, it should bring you joy. So really enjoy that and push hard. And even though maybe you don't have a date right now where you're going to be meeting up with your teams, know that we won't be locked down forever. So at a point that you're going to want to use the skills and do the things that you love on the field again.
Yeah, great message. And that's it. And just try to get out as often as you can and do as much as you can. Like, weather's getting better as well, and we just, like you say, you love the game, and it's important that we do just try to get on the ball and get as many touches as we can and keep that maintenance going throughout this kind of shutdown. Julian, would you like to add anything on that?
Yeah, it's difficult now with the lockdown, but like you said, it's not forever, and hopefully maybe next week or a month it will be better, so we can all go back on the pitch and play football, that the sport we love. So yeah, it's like we said, it's hard to discipline yourself every time, wake up and go running, but if you have the opportunity to go in the park with a ball alone and juggling it, or dribble, or train a new skill or something like that, do it definitely. The day will come when the training starts, and if you do nothing, I can guarantee that your body will not be fit, and if your body is not fit, your muscles deliver you not the thing. The things you want to have. So yeah, you have to be fit, and so that you can, when the lockdown is over, you can be on the pitch soon.
Yeah, brilliant, and come back as sharp as you can, guys. Yeah. Brilliant, guys. Brilliant answers, Julian, Jordan. Thank you so much for your time. It was great to have you on, and thanks again to York United for organising and collaborating. It was really, really good, and I think there's been great messages to take from today, and the players, I'm sure, will take them home as well. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
No
It was
problem.
fun.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jordan.
Hope my English was understandable.
It was great, Julian.
That's great.
Really
Thank you
good.
very much.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right.